Ambassador Marcus Chen straightened his formal diplomatic coat as he walked through the gleaming corridors of the Galactic Council's primary station. The massive structure orbited the neutral world of Kepler 442b, serving as the political heart of the galaxy for over 300 species. Today marked humanity's first official invitation to join the Council as a full member, a moment Marcus had worked toward for the past 5 years. The human delegation consisted of only 3 people: Marcus himself, his aide Jennifer Walsh, and Captain Sarah Rodriguez from Earth's Diplomatic Protection Service. Other species brought dozens of representatives, but humans preferred efficiency over spectacle. This approach had earned them respect among some council members and suspicion among others. As they approached the main chamber, Marcus noticed unusual activity in the hallways. Security drones floated in patterns he hadn't seen during his previous visits. Alien guards from various species stood at posts that were normally unmanned. The atmospheric processors hummed louder than usual, suggesting heightened alert status. "Ambassador," Jennifer whispered, checking her data pad. "I'm reading some concerning intelligence reports. Several council members have been holding private meetings this week. The Zelkari Consortium and the Thrakari Empire specifically." Marcus nodded, but kept walking. Both species had opposed human membership from the beginning. The Zelkari viewed humans as too aggressive and unpredictable. The Thrakari considered them a threat to established trade routes. Neither species understood that humanity's rapid expansion came from curiosity and necessity, not conquest. Captain Rodriguez moved closer to Marcus. Her hand rested casually near her sidearm, though weapons were supposedly forbidden in the council chambers. "Sir, my tactical analysis suggests this feels like a setup. Too many variables are outside normal parameters." "Noted, Captain. But we proceed as planned. This vote determines humanity's future in galactic politics." They entered the vast council chamber, a spherical room with representatives seated on floating platforms arranged in concentric circles. The chamber could accommodate thousands, with each species allocated space based on their territorial holdings and population. Humanity had been given a small observation platform near the outer ring, reflecting their newcomer status. At the chamber's center floated the Council Prime, an ancient Etherian whose species had founded the galactic government millennia ago. Prime Valdris had survived longer than most civilizations and commanded respect through wisdom rather than force. His translucent form shimmered as he prepared to call the session to order. Marcus took his assigned seat and activated his translation device. The babble of hundreds of alien languages filled the air before the universal translators synchronized. Jennifer sat to his left, monitoring communication channels and recording everything for Earth's archives. Captain Rodriguez positioned herself behind them, her eyes scanning the chamber's security arrangements. "Honored representatives," Prime Valdris began, his voice resonating through quantum harmonics. "Today we vote on humanity's application for full council membership. This decision affects not just one species, but the future balance of our galactic community." The formal proceedings began with testimonials from various species. The friendly Altarian Republic spoke of profitable trade partnerships with human colonies. The scholarly Vegan Confederacy praised human scientific contributions to galactic knowledge. Several smaller species expressed gratitude for human assistance during recent pirate raids in the outer systems. But Marcus knew the real opposition would come from the major powers. The Zelkari representative, a hulking creature resembling a bipedal rhinoceros with cybernetic implants, stood to address the chamber. The Zelkari Consortium questions humanity's readiness for council membership. Their expansion rate exceeds established protocols. In 50 years, they have colonized more worlds than most species manage in 5 centuries. This aggressive behavior suggests imperial ambitions. Murmurs filled the chamber as various species debated the point. Marcus remained calm, though he felt frustration building. Humanity's rapid expansion resulted from their short lifespans and natural drive to explore. They weren't conquering worlds, but settling uninhabited systems that other species had ignored for millennia. The Thrakari representative spoke next, its crystalline form pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Furthermore, human military capabilities remain largely classified. They refuse to share technological specifications with the Council's Security Committee. How can we trust a species that hides its true strength? This argument carried more weight. Several neutral species nodded in agreement. Marcus knew that revealing humanity's full military capacity would likely terrify the Council, rather than reassure them. Humans had learned hard lessons about warfare during their violent history, lessons that made them extremely effective when threatened. Prime Valdris gestured for quiet. Ambassador Chen, you may respond to these concerns. Marcus stood and activated his platform's amplification system. Honorable Council members, humanity seeks partnership, not domination. Our expansion comes from necessity, not greed. Earth's resources cannot sustain our growing population indefinitely. We explore new worlds to ensure our species' survival, just as your ancestors did. He paused, letting his words translate properly. Regarding military capabilities, we believe in transparency appropriate to trust levels. As we integrate with the galactic community, we will share more information, but premature disclosure of sensitive technologies serves no one's interests. The debate continued for hours. Marcus fielded questions about human culture, technology, and intentions. Some inquiries showed genuine curiosity, while others seemed designed to expose weaknesses or contradictions in humanity's position. During a recess, Jennifer pulled Marcus aside. Sir, I'm monitoring increased encrypted communications between the Zelkari and Thrakari delegations. Their security teams are also moving into new positions around the chamber. Captain Rodriguez joined them. I've identified 17 potential threat vectors in this room. Most Council species rely on energy weapons that our personal shields can deflect, but the Zelkari have kinetic weapons that could penetrate our defenses. Marcus considered this information. Political assassination was supposedly impossible in the Council chambers due to advanced security systems, but the systems were designed by the same species now opposing human membership. Trust had limits. We continue as planned, Marcus decided. Backing down now would confirm their worst assumptions about human behavior. We finish this properly. The session resumed with the formal voting procedure. Each species would announce their position publicly, followed by the electronic confirmation of their vote. The process took time because representatives often gave speeches explaining their decisions. As the voting progressed, Marcus felt growing tension in the chamber. The smaller species generally supported human membership, viewing Earth as a potential ally against the larger powers' dominance. But the major species remained divided. The Altarians voted yes, as expected. The Vegan Confederacy also supported humanity, but the Draconian Empire abstained, a significant blow to human hopes. The Centauri Federation voted no, citing concerns about trade disruption. Marcus watched the vote tallies on his display. Humanity needed a 2/3 majority for membership approval. The numbers remained close as voting continued. Then came the moment Marcus had dreaded. The Zelkari representative stood to announce their consortium's position. The Zelkari consortium has carefully considered humanity's application. While we acknowledge their achievements, we cannot ignore the potential risks. Therefore, we vote no on Human Council membership. The chamber erupted in discussion. The Zelkari controlled significant trade routes and commanded respect through economic influence. Their opposition carried substantial weight with neutral species. Marcus felt the momentum shifting against humanity. Several species that had seemed supportive now appeared uncertain. The political calculation was simple. Offending the Zelkari had consequences that extended far beyond this vote. Prime Valdris called for order. The Thrakari Empire will now announce their position. The crystalline Thrakari representative pulsed with blue light as it prepared to speak. But instead of words, Marcus heard the distinctive whine of charging energy weapons. Captain Rodriguez moved instantly, her enhanced reflexes triggering faster than conscious thought. She tackled Marcus sideways as coherent light beams sliced through the space where his head had been moments before. The assassination attempt lasted exactly 3 seconds. In the first second, hidden Zelkari assassins revealed themselves from concealed positions around the chamber. Their energy rifles targeted Marcus from multiple angles, turning his platform into a kill zone. In the second second, Captain Rodriguez's combat implants analyzed the threat vectors and calculated optimal responses. Her sidearm cleared its holster as she rolled to cover Marcus with her body. In the third second, Marcus Chen ended the fight. The human ambassador's diplomatic coat contained more than ceremonial decorations. Woven into the fabric were millions of microfilaments connected to a quantum processor that had been analyzing the chamber's layout since his arrival. The same technology that made human starships nearly impossible to target had been miniaturized into personal defense systems. Marcus didn't draw a weapon. He didn't need to. The quantum processor identified every hostile weapon in the chamber and calculated precise electromagnetic pulses to disrupt their firing mechanisms. The pulses transmitted through the microfilaments in his coat and projected outward in focused beams. Every Zelkari weapon simultaneously exploded in its user's hands. The chamber fell silent, except for the screams of wounded assassins and the hum of Marcus's coat returning to passive mode. Prime Valdris stared at the human ambassador in shock. How did you do that?" Marcus straightened his coat and helped Captain Rodriguez to her feet. "The same way we've survived and thrived in a galaxy that often views us as threats, Prime Valdris. We prepare for every possibility and hope we never need to use our preparations." Jennifer emerged from behind their overturned platform, her datapad still recording. "Sir, should I file a formal complaint about the assassination attempt?" Marcus looked around the chamber at the stunned alien faces. Several council security teams were moving to arrest the surviving Zelkari operatives. The Thrakari representative had apparently disconnected from the session entirely, its platform now empty. "No complaints necessary," Marcus said calmly. "I believe this incident has provided the Council with valuable information about humanity's character and capabilities." He activated his platform's amplification system once more. "Honorable Council members, you have seen today that humans do not seek conflict. We came here in good faith, seeking peaceful membership in your organization. But we also do not allow threats against our people to go unanswered." Prime Valdris slowly processed what had occurred. "Ambassador Chen, you have demonstrated abilities far beyond what humanity has previously disclosed to this council." "Indeed, Prime Valdris. As I mentioned during the debates, we believe in transparency appropriate to trust levels. Today's event suggests that complete transparency may be necessary for productive future relationships." The implications hung in the air like a challenge. Marcus had just proven that human defensive technology could neutralize threats inside the galaxy's most secure facility. The question now was whether the Council would view this as a threat or an asset. The revelation. The emergency session convened within hours of the assassination attempt. The council chamber had been cleared of debris and wounded Zelkari operatives, but tension remained thick in the recycled atmosphere. Species representatives huddled in nervous clusters, whispering about humanity's unexpected defensive capabilities. Marcus Chen sat in the same chair, his diplomatic coat showing no signs of the previous incident. The quantum defense system had recharged completely, though he hoped never to demonstrate its capabilities again. Captain Rodriguez maintained her position behind him, now openly wearing her sidearm after the Council's security protocols had been proven inadequate. Prime Valdris called for attention, his ethereal form flickering with what Marcus had learned indicated stress among the Etherians. This emergency session addresses the unprecedented events during today's membership vote. Before we continue, the Council requires a full explanation of human defensive technologies. Marcus stood slowly, aware that every word would be analyzed by intelligence services across the galaxy. Prime Valdris, I understand the Council's concern. However, complete disclosure requires context that may disturb some representatives. Speak freely, Ambassador. Today's events have already disturbed us considerably. Marcus activated his personal display, projecting a holographic timeline above the chamber's center. Earth appeared as a blue marble, rotating slowly as events unfolded around it. Humanity's development differs from most galactic species in fundamental ways. Our homeworld produced multiple intelligent subspecies simultaneously, leading to constant warfare for resources and territory. Other species typically achieve sentience as unified planetary consciousness. We achieved it while fighting ourselves. The display showed human conflicts throughout history. Battles with primitive weapons evolved into mechanized warfare, then nuclear exchanges that nearly destroyed the planet. Many council members shifted uncomfortably as the images showed the devastation humans had inflicted upon themselves. These conflicts taught us that survival requires constant vigilance and overwhelming response to existential threats. We learned to develop technologies not for conquest, but for deterrence. The goal was always to make war too costly for any aggressor to attempt. The timeline progressed to humanity's space age. The first colonies faced attacks from automated defense systems left behind by extinct civilizations. Early human settlements fell to alien predators that other species had never encountered because they avoided dangerous worlds entirely. When we reached for the stars, we found the galaxy was not empty. It contained remnants of dead civilizations and evolved threats that tested our survival instincts. We adapted by developing defense systems that could respond faster than human reflexes and think beyond human limitations. A new image appeared showing Earth's orbital defense network. Thousands of satellites formed geometric patterns around the planet, each one containing technology that made the quantum processor in Marcus's coat look primitive by comparison. Our military doctrine centers on proportional response and absolute defense. We do not seek to destroy enemies, but to make attacking us impossible or too expensive to contemplate. Today's demonstration was our most basic defensive system designed for diplomatic personnel in supposedly safe environments. Prime Valdris processed this information slowly. You are saying that your ambassador's personal protection exceeds the security capabilities of this entire facility? Yes, Prime Valdris, and every human diplomat, merchant, scientist, and explorer carries similar systems. We learned long ago that our people are our most valuable resource. Murmurs erupted across the chamber as species realized the implications. The Altarian representative requested permission to speak. Ambassador Chen, if humans possess such advanced defensive technologies, why have you not shared them with the galactic community? Many species struggle with pirate raids and territorial disputes that your systems could prevent. Marcus had expected this question. Representative Kyrian, our willingness to share technology depends on how it will be used. Defensive systems can become offensive weapons with simple modifications. We prefer to provide assistance rather than advance technology until trust relationships develop. The Vegan Confederacy representative, a tall insectoid creature with compound eyes, joined the discussion. This explains human military effectiveness against pirate fleets. Our intelligence report suggested impossibly efficient response times and zero casualties in human convoy operations. Correct. Our merchant vessels carry automated defense systems that analyze threats and respond appropriately. Pirates quickly learned that attacking human ships resulted in disabled vessels and captured crews rather than profitable raids. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward at Marcus's gesture. If I may explain the tactical perspective, representatives, human military philosophy prioritizes preserving life, including enemy life when possible. Our weapons are designed to disable rather than destroy. Today's defensive response targeted weapon systems rather than the beings wielding them. The Draconian Empire representative, a massive reptilian creature with cybernetic implants, leaned forward with interest. This suggests human military capabilities exceed our previous estimates significantly. How many human worlds possess orbital defense networks? Marcus smiled diplomatically. All of them, Representative Scarn. We established that policy after losing 3 early colonies to automated defense systems from dead civilizations. Every human settlement receives full defensive infrastructure before civilian population exceeds 10,000. The chamber erupted in discussion again. The mathematical implications were staggering. Humanity had colonized over 200 worlds in 50 years, meaning 200 fully defended systems with technology that could neutralize threats inside the galaxy's most secure facility. Prime Valdris called for order. Ambassador Chen, this information significantly changes our understanding of humanity's position in galactic affairs. Why have you not revealed these capabilities previously? Because we hoped they would never be necessary, Prime Valdris. Our goal has always been peaceful integration with the galactic community. Displaying superior military technology typically generates fear rather than friendship. Jennifer Walsh activated her datapad and projected new information into the chamber. If I may provide additional context, representatives. Humanity's rapid expansion created misconceptions about our intentions. We weren't conquering territory but fleeing potential threats. The display showed Earth's position relative to galactic core. Humanity had expanded primarily toward the galactic rim, avoiding established trade routes and populated systems. Their expansion pattern showed clear evidence of defensive positioning rather than aggressive conquest. Our settlements form defensive lines against threats from unknown space beyond the galactic edge. Intelligence reports suggest massive automated fleets operating in dark matter clouds outside our galaxy. We've been preparing for potential invasion that other species haven't detected. This revelation caused an even greater stir. The concept of extragalactic threats was theoretical to most Council species. The idea that humans were actually preparing for such possibilities suggested either paranoia or superior intelligence capabilities. The scholarly vegan representative requested more details. You possess evidence of threats from beyond our galaxy? Marcus nodded to Jennifer, who projected new data. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected electromagnetic signatures consistent with massive fleet movements in the void between galaxies. The patterns suggest organized intelligence rather than natural phenomena. However, Marcus continued, we cannot prove hostile intent. The signatures might represent peaceful exploration by species from neighboring galaxies. Our defensive preparations are precautionary rather than responses to confirmed threats. The chamber fell silent as representatives processed this information. The implications were enormous. If humans were correct about extragalactic threats, their defensive preparations might benefit the entire galaxy. If they were wrong, they possessed military capabilities that could dominate galactic politics. Prime Valdris spoke carefully. Ambassador Chen, assuming these threats materialize, would humanity be willing to share defensive technologies with Council member species? Absolutely, Prime Valdris. In fact, we had hoped Council membership would facilitate such cooperation. Our defensive technologies work best when integrated across multiple systems and species. Collaborative defense networks provide superior protection compared to isolated planetary systems. The Zelkari representative, a different individual from the consortium member who had organized the assassination attempt, requested permission to speak. The consortium had apparently replaced their entire delegation after the incident. Ambassador Chen, the Zelkari consortium formally apologizes for today's attack. The responsible parties acted without authorization and have been removed from their positions permanently. However, we must address practical concerns about human military superiority. Marcus appreciated the directness. Please speak freely, Representative. If humans possess such advanced defensive capabilities, what prevents you from using them for conquest? How can weaker species trust that you will not eventually dominate galactic politics through superior technology? The question struck to the heart of galactic fears about humanity. Marcus had prepared for this moment throughout his diplomatic career. Representative, humans learned a crucial lesson during our violent history. Superior technology does not guarantee victory, and victory does not guarantee survival. Our most advanced civilizations fell to internal conflicts despite possessing weapons that could destroy continents. He gestured to the timeline still floating above the chamber. We developed our defensive technologies specifically because we understand that aggressive use of superior force creates enemies rather than allies. Every human remembers that our homeworld nearly became uninhabitable due to conflicts between technologically advanced nations. Captain Rodriguez added her perspective. From a strategic standpoint, representatives, conquest requires constant resource expenditure to maintain control over unwilling populations. Humans learned that cooperation produces better results with lower costs. Our defensive posture reflects this understanding. The draconian representative pressed for more details. But surely human leaders must be tempted by the advantages your technology provides. Marcus smiled grimly. Representative Skarn, human leaders who show aggressive tendencies are removed from power quickly. Our democratic systems evolved specifically to prevent concentration of military authority in individual hands. No single human can authorize offensive use of our defensive technologies. Jennifer projected Earth's governmental structure for the chamber's reference. The complex system of checks and balances showed multiple overlapping authorities required for any military decision. Emergency protocols existed, but they required consensus from representatives across all human colonies. Additionally, Marcus continued, humans rotate leadership positions regularly. Our current Earth president serves a 4-year term and cannot be re-elected. Military commanders serve fixed terms with mandatory retirement. This prevents individual accumulation of power. Prime Valdris studied the governmental displays carefully. This system seems designed to prevent exactly the kinds of concerns other species have raised about human intentions. Correct, Prime Valdris. We designed our institutions specifically to prevent the mistakes that led to our historical conflicts. Trust in human peaceful intentions must be based on our governmental structures rather than individual promises. The emergency session continued for several more hours as representatives asked detailed questions about human technology, government, and strategic intentions. Marcus answered as openly as possible while maintaining appropriate security classifications. As the session concluded, it became clear that the assassination attempt had fundamentally changed the membership debate. Instead of questioning whether humans deserved council membership, representatives were now debating whether they could afford to reject humanity's application. The vote would take place tomorrow, but the real decision had already been made when Marcus disabled the Zelkari weapons in 3 seconds. The galaxy now understood that humanity was not just another species seeking representation, but a potential ally against threats that most civilizations couldn't even imagine. The decision. The final voting session began at dawn, Galactic Standard Time. Marcus Chen entered the council chamber to find it transformed. Where yesterday had shown empty seats and sparse attendance, today every species had sent their maximum allowed delegation. Word of humanity's defensive demonstration had spread throughout the galaxy overnight, drawing representatives who had previously considered the membership vote unimportant. Prime Valdris floated at the chamber's center, his ethereal form more solid than Marcus had ever seen it. The ancient Etherian had spent the night in deep meditation. consulting with the collective wisdom of his species about humanity's place in galactic affairs. Honored representatives, the Prime began, today we conclude humanity's membership application with full knowledge of their capabilities and intentions. The events of yesterday have provided clarity that formal presentations could not achieve. Marcus took his seat, noting the changed atmosphere in the chamber. Yesterday, many species had seemed bored or distracted during the proceedings. Today, every representative focused intently on the human delegation. Some expressions showed fear, others curiosity, but none showed indifference. Captain Rodriguez had received overnight intelligence briefings from Earth security services. The assassination attempt had been more complex than initially revealed. The Zelkari operatives had planted additional weapons throughout the chamber, planning a massacre that would have killed not just Marcus but several other representatives who supported human membership. The investigation into yesterday's incident has revealed additional information, Prime Valdris continued. The Zelkari conspiracy included plans to eliminate multiple council members and blame humanity for the attack. This would have justified military action against human colonies and prevented any future membership applications. Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. Several species had not realized the scope of the conspiracy. The plan would have destabilized galactic politics for centuries while positioning the Zelkari consortium as humanity's primary opposition. The Altarian representative requested permission to speak. Prime Valdris, this information suggests the assassination attempt was not merely opposition to human membership, but an attempt to manipulate council politics through violence. Correct, Representative Kyrion. Analysis of the planted weapons shows they were designed to cause maximum casualties while leaving evidence pointing to human involvement. The conspiracy required months of planning and significant resource expenditure. Marcus felt a chill as he understood the implications. The Zelkari hadn't just wanted to kill him. They had planned to frame humanity for an attack that would justify genocide against human colonies. The defensive systems in his coat had prevented not just his death, but a galactic war. Jennifer Walsh activated her datapad and projected new intelligence for the chamber's review. Representatives, Earth's analysis of the weapons found throughout this chamber shows technology designed to mimic human energy signatures. The conspiracy included plans to make human defensive systems appear to have malfunctioned and caused friendly fire casualties. The sophistication of the plot impressed even Marcus. The Zelkari had prepared for humanity's technological capabilities and planned accordingly. Only the quantum processor's ability to identify and disable weapons instantly had prevented the massacre. The Draconian representative spoke with obvious anger. This suggests that human membership opposition was based not on legitimate concerns but on planned deception designed to eliminate a potential rival. Prime Valdris gestured for calm. The investigation continues under council authority. However, today's vote proceeds based on humanity's qualifications rather than external manipulation attempts. The formal voting began with smaller species announcing their positions first. The pattern quickly became clear. Species that had been uncertain yesterday now supported human membership enthusiastically. The demonstration of defensive capabilities combined with evidence of the conspiracy had shifted opinion dramatically. Marcus watched the vote tallies with growing amazement. Species that had never shown interest in human affairs were now declaring humanity essential to galactic security. The mathematics of council politics had changed overnight. The Vegan Confederacy delivered a lengthy speech praising human scientific contributions before confirming their support. The Centauri Federation, which had voted against humanity yesterday, announced they were changing their position based on new information about human defensive capabilities. The Centauri Federation recognizes that galactic security requires cooperation between species with complementary capabilities. Humanity's defensive technologies could benefit all council members through collaborative development programs. As voting continued, Marcus realized that yesterday's 3-second demonstration had accomplished more than 5 years of diplomatic negotiations. The galaxy now understood that humans were not aggressive newcomers seeking conquest, but prepared defenders against threats that other species couldn't handle. The turning point came when the Draconian Empire announced their position. Representative Skarn stood to address the chamber, his massive form commanding attention. The Draconian Empire has historically opposed rapid expansion of council membership. We believe new members should prove their worthiness through extended observation periods. However, yesterday's events have demonstrated that humanity possesses not only advanced capabilities, but wisdom in their application. The chamber fell silent as one of the galaxy's most conservative species prepared to announce their vote. Ambassador Chen could have responded to the assassination attempt with overwhelming force. His defensive systems could have killed every Zelkari operative instantly. Instead, he chose precise neutralization that preserved life while ending the threat. This demonstrates the judgment and restraint required for council membership. Marcus felt emotions he hadn't expected. The draconian approval meant more than political calculation. It represented recognition that humanity had learned from their violent history and chosen a different path. Therefore, the Draconian Empire votes yes on human council membership. The chamber erupted in discussion. If the conservative Draconians supported humanity, the remaining votes would be a formality. Several neutral species immediately announced their support, citing Draconian reasoning. But the real surprise came from an unexpected source. The Thrakari Empire, whose representative had fled during yesterday's incident, had sent a new delegation overnight. The replacement representative, a crystalline being who pulsed with golden light, requested permission to address the chamber. The Thrakari Empire formally apologizes for our previous representative's behavior during yesterday's incident. Analysis of the evacuation records shows they departed the chamber immediately before the assassination attempt began, suggesting advanced knowledge of the conspiracy. This revelation caused another stir. The Thrakari had apparently been involved in the plot, though their exact role remained unclear. The responsible individual has been removed from authority and faces criminal charges under Thrakari law. However, the Empire wishes to make amends for this betrayal of council protocols. The new representative pulsed with deeper golden light as they continued. The Thrakari Empire not only votes yes on human council membership, but proposes immediate elevation to full member status rather than the traditional probationary period. Marcus couldn't hide his surprise. Full membership typically required decades of observation and gradual integration. The Thrakari were proposing to skip the entire process. Prime Valdris considered this proposal carefully. Representative Kelthera, full membership grants humans immediate access to all council databases, including classified security information about galactic threats. This is unprecedented for a new member species. Indeed, Prime Valdris. However, yesterday's demonstration suggests humans already possess superior intelligence capabilities. Their warnings about extragalactic threats indicate monitoring systems beyond Council technology. Restricting their access to our databases might actually reduce galactic security. The logic was sound, though politically radical. Marcus realized the galaxy was essentially admitting that human technology exceeded their own in critical areas. Jennifer leaned over to whisper in Marcus's ear. "Sir, full membership would give us access to council archives going back millions of years. We could finally verify our theories about the extragalactic signals." The voting continued with the outcome no longer in doubt. Species after species announced their support for human membership. The Zelkari Consortium, now under new leadership, voted yes while promising full cooperation with the conspiracy investigation. When the final tally appeared, the numbers showed overwhelming support. Humanity had received approval from 87% of council members, far exceeding the required two-thirds majority. Prime Valdris announced the result formally. The Galactic Council hereby grants full membership to the human species effective immediately. Ambassador Chen, you are now authorized to represent humanity in all council proceedings and access all membership privileges. The chamber erupted in applause, though Marcus noticed some species seemed more relieved than celebratory. The galaxy had essentially voted to ally with humans, rather than risk opposing them. But the real surprise came in Prime Valdris's next announcement. Additionally, the Council has voted to establish a new position, Director of Galactic Defense Coordination. This role will oversee collaborative defense projects between member species and coordinate responses to external threats. Ambassador Chen, the Council unanimously nominates you for this position. Marcus stood slowly, understanding the implications. The galaxy wasn't just welcoming humanity as members. They were asking humans to take responsibility for galactic defense against threats that other species couldn't handle. Prime Valdris, I am honored by the Council's confidence. However, this position should be offered to someone with appropriate military experience and strategic knowledge. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. Sir, if I may suggest that you recommend me for the position while maintaining your role as Earth's primary diplomatic representative. The responsibilities can be divided appropriately. Prime Valdris considered this proposal. Captain Rodriguez, your qualifications include direct experience with human defensive technologies and tactical doctrine. The Council would be pleased to consider your nomination. Marcus nodded to his security chief. Prime Valdris, I formally nominate Captain Sarah Rodriguez for the position of Director of Galactic Defense Coordination. Her experience and judgment make her ideal for coordinating defensive efforts across multiple species and technological platforms. The vote on Rodriguez's nomination passed unanimously within minutes. The galaxy had apparently decided that having humans in charge of their defense was preferable to facing human defensive capabilities as opponents. As the session concluded, Marcus realized that yesterday's 3-second fight had changed more than humanity's political status. It had fundamentally altered the balance of galactic power, placing humans at the center of decisions about war, peace, and survival. The galaxy had tried to eliminate humanity through assassination and conspiracy. Instead, they had learned that humans were the allies they needed against threats they couldn't imagine. The assassin's failure had become humanity's greatest diplomatic victory. Walking out of the chamber, Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Humanity now had the influence they had sought, but they also had obligations that would test their wisdom and judgment for generations to come. The galaxy had accepted humanity not because they were harmless, but because they were dangerous in ways that served galactic interests. The real challenge would be proving worthy of that trust while maintaining the defensive vigilance that had made them valuable allies in the first place. 3 seconds had changed everything. Now humanity had to prove they deserved the galaxy's faith in their judgment.